Hello, land of WhatCulture. It's me, Simon from WhatCulture, and you have tuned in to the Ups and Downs show that is focusing on WWE's flagship program, also known as Monday Night Raw. And all we're going to do here is we're going to go through the show. We're going to look at the moments and decide, was that moment good or was that moment bad, or should we get it up? Should we get it down? Now, we are only a few days away from Survivor Series, and I think WWE took this go-home show and they shook it around like a rattle. Like a baby with a rattle, they shook it around and they produced something that was damn good. But enough of me ranting, it's time to ups and downs. Now, despite me saying lovely things about Raw in the intro just then, when we talk about the very start of Raw last night, I'm going to be completely contradictory, and I'm going to give it a down because, my gosh, sometimes it does feel like we stood in a time machine and went back 5 years. I want to go back 5 years. I want to go back 5 years. I've done that. I've done it. That was 2012. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. It was 2012. Let's move forward. But Kurt Angle came out to set up the night, and then who came out to join him? That's right, the returning once again Stephanie McMahon. Stephanie McMahon just ran down Kurt Angle. It made Kurt Angle look like a fool, like he was desperate to be the Raw general manager. And if he wasn't the Raw general manager, he'd have nothing else in his life, even though in reality, I know it's not reality, but still, he's a former Olympian that's probably done all right for himself. So I didn't like this. I didn't like it at all. Why can't Kurt stand up for himself? Why can no Raw GM stand up for themselves? It's almost as if you're Raw GM, that's the most important job in the world, and if you lose it, your life's just going to go, I don't know, into a pit. Thankfully, then the Shield did come out and they stood up for Kurt Angle and they reminded Stephanie McMahon that at TLC, when Roman Reigns was out, who was back here obviously after his illness, that Kurt Angle did step in, but all that did was get them put in a match later on in the show against The Miz and The Bar. So yeah, quite a literal up and down opening, because once again, I just don't want to see Stephanie McMahon yell at people when we could have had a little Team Raw moment here and made us feel good before their war at Survivor Series. Then we led into the women's match for the evening, and I swear this was exactly what happened 7 days ago. Intro with Steph and Kurt, women's match. So it's basically like WWE just looked at the structure from last week and went, let's do it again, but it's getting enough. It was indeed a triple threat match between Bayley, Mickie James and Dana Brooke to see who would be the 5th member or the last member of the women's Team Raw team. And hey, guess who won? Of course, it was Dana Brooke. No, it wasn't. It was Bayley. A decent enough match, did what it had to do. We've got our women's team for Survivor Series. That's all I got. WWE then did keep the script going from last week when we got our 205 Live portion of the evening, which was a tag match between Enzo and Drew Gulak and Tozawa and Kalisto. And there was a funny bit before all of this where Enzo was all like, how are you doing? And Drew Gulak responded saying, yeah, I'm all right, thanks. I'm pretty good. It was actually a rip-off of a joke from a TV show from years ago, but it still worked. As for the match, it was what it was. I just don't think that WWE cares about the Cruiserweight division, as they never have, and this was proven further when we learnt that the kickoff match on Survivor Series is going to be Kalisto versus Enzo Amore. So why should I care? Down. Then we had a bizarre backstage segment with Kurt Angle, which on paper made no sense. I don't really know what to give this, but just to wind everyone up, I'm going to give it a down. Now, it started when he looked at Finn Balor and Samoa Joe and said, look guys, I don't know if I can trust you here. So straight away you're like, why are they on the team? You idiot, if you can't trust them. But to gain trust, he put them in a match against Gallows and Anderson later on. That's even more stupid, because why are you risking people in the team so soon to Survivor Series? So that wound me up. And then he went to Jason Jordan. Look, boy, son of mine, you've got to prove yourself. You're in a match with the returning Bray Wyatt. Then, because Braun Strowman is Braun Strowman, he interrupted Kurt and said, I don't care what you want, pal. I want Kane. And Angle's like, look, big dude, you've got him. Now, I understand what this was. It was setting up matches for the rest of the night and continuing to build a Survivor Series, but it was dumb. It was stupid. That's why it gets it down. And I am being quite harsh there. During all this, though, it was made official that at Survivor Series, we're getting the New Day versus the Shield. So in a matter of like days, or maybe a week if you want to give it that, WWE's taken a card that was kind of like meh on paper and made it amazing. That's exciting, getting it up. Then that prompted The Miz to come out to do his Miz TV segment. And I tell you what, The Miz could kind of say and do whatever he wants these days. He's so good at cutting a promo, he's so good at an interview that he's just awesome. It's true, and that's obviously a pun there, but it's true, it's getting it up. Came out and he ran down Baron Corbin and said, oh, I'm gonna get you at Survivor Series. And he took some jabs at the Shield and the Bar did the same. They took their jabs. Obviously, they brought in the Usos, who they're challenging at the pay-per-view. And then over there in the corner was Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel. And you're like, I thought the Miz Tarraz existed to build these people up, but apparently not, because right now, there may as well be curtains. That's what they're like. They're like curtains. They're kind of there, and you use them when you need them. Otherwise, who really gives two hoots? But again, you've got some really talented people in the ring who are building up their feuds that are coming in the next few days, and that's what this did. So I'm not going to get mad at it, and I didn't. Still smiling. Which brings us to the biggest down of the night, because Jason Jordan did go against the comeback king, Bray Wyatt. And can you believe it? Jason Jordan won, which means Bray Wyatt lost. Down. Now forget the fact that Bray Wyatt is supposed to be a main event player, forget the fact that Bray Wyatt was a former WWE champion, and forget the fact that Bray Wyatt is meant to be the future. He returned here and he lost to Jason Jordan. Who doesn't Bray Wyatt lose to? I think I could turn up in the WWE tomorrow and someone would look at the script and go, oh, it's Miller versus Bray Wyatt loses. And somebody else could say, who the flip is Miller? The other guy would be like, doesn't matter. All I know is that he's going against Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt always loses. And sure, Bray Wyatt lost here because of a surprise roll-up from nowhere that Jason Jordan just busted out of his ass. And then yeah, after the match, Wyatt kicked the crap out of Jason Jordan, which led to an angle later in the night. But that's not the point. Once again, Bray Wyatt loses. Down. However, I am going to give it up to the fact that nobody in WWE mentioned the Sister Abigail stuff, because hopefully that means we've forgotten about it, because don't forget, that was Wyatt walking around with a shawl on his head. But then it was time for Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman to come out, and my word, Paul Heyman cut such a good promo, it almost made me explode with love. The man is incredible. This gets an up. There's no point me going through each point, and you're better off going out there and watching it for yourselves. But put it like this, Paul Heyman is so talented that at one point in the crowd, somebody proposed to somebody else, the crowd started chanting, she said yes, and Paul Heyman worked that into his promo, and he worked it in a way that it put Brock Lesnar over even more. That was ridiculously good, and throughout all of this, Heyman also made AJ Styles feel like the biggest threat that Brock Lesnar has ever faced. It's just awesome. I was already excited for this match, now I'm twice as excited. I don't even care that these two aren't on TV every week, because when they do turn up, they feel like stars, and they get me pumped and ready inside. Wonderful stuff. Look, my arms are out. Like, wonderful, wonderful big arms. What? And the good stuff kept on coming, because then it was the match between The Miz and The Bar versus The Shield. And of course this was good. Everybody involved here is just a really good professional wrestler. It's getting an up. Roman Reigns got the pin, because of course Roman got the pin. But he was actually cheered a bit here, and that warmed my socks. It warmed my innards, my liver and my kidney were all happy, because sometimes it's just nice to see the big baby face get a baby face reaction. So this was great, and this was the first match since The Shield has returned. We didn't get it at TLC. So maybe WWE could have hyped that up a bit more, but they didn't. They look great, they are great, they got great chemistry. This ticked all the boxes, happy days, wonderful news, it gets enough. WWE then decided, right, now's the time to pull out the big guns, and my gosh did they, because Kurt Angle came to the ring, Jason Jordan came to the ring, and things got damn interesting. It's an up. Now there was a bit of a spanner in the works when Stephanie McMahon came out again and started running everyone down. Just like a machine gun of negative comments, and if you get in the way, you're going to get absolutely destroyed. But the long and the short of it was this. She said, Kurt Angle, you know what you got to tell your son. You know the deal. You know who the real fifth member of Team Raw is going to be. So get on with it, or I will. That left Kurt Angle looking all sad, like, oh, I can't yell at my fake son. And Jason Jordan was like, oh, fake dad, please, this is my big opportunity. And then what happened? Triple H's music hit, and the game returns on Monday Night Raw. He stormed to the ring and he took the microphone and he got in Kurt Angle's face. He was all like, listen, Kurt, if you're not going to tell him, I'll tell him. Who's the fifth member of Team Raw? It is me, Triple H. And then he turned around and booted Jason Jordan in the gut and pedigreed his ass. And also, he somehow became both the biggest face and the biggest heel on the Raw roster. I don't know how he does that, but that's what happened here, because the crowd were going nuts, but ultimately, he was acting like a bad guy. This was absolutely great though, and having Triple H in that match does make it more interesting, and throughout all of this, the audience crapped on Jason Jordan, so I'm hoping, fingers crossed, this is the start of his heel turn, and that would help him no end. Also, someone a few months ago said at WrestleMania it's probably going to be Triple H versus Kurt Angle. I don't know who that guy was. But it certainly looks like that's what we're building to, and I will watch that match. All of this was awesome, all of this was fantastic, that's why it gets enough. My smile stayed on my face as well, because then it was Finn Balor and Samoa Joe versus Gallows and Anderson, and that was good as well. Up. I mean, of course it was. Much like The Miz and The Bar and The Shield and all that, it's just really good professional wrestlers putting on a really good professional wrestling match. Now, for some reason, Finn Balor took the brunt here and Samoa Joe didn't do that much, but the two got along, they got the win, and now we can kind of tease going into Survivor Series that they're going to work together, but of course they won't. They'll kick the crap out of each other, and maybe that's what cost Team Raw the victory. What is a down, however, is that Gallows and Anderson are still treated like little kids. Why can't we do something good with these two? They are like They're awesome. They're awesome. And I enjoy them. Make them bigger or something, WWE. Come on. And a quick up for Alexa Bliss's promo. Did what she had to do, called SmackDown the B show ever since she left, and that she was going to walk into Survivor Series and win her match. Good for you. Good luck. The main event of the show was the Kane versus Braun Strowman match, but that wasn't a match. Even though Kurt Angle said, oh, you're going to have a match, when the two got in the ring and went face to face and stared at each other, no one rang the bell, and I don't even think there was a ref. So what was that about? Still getting it up. The reason why is because these two big men beat the absolute crap out of each other, and it ended when Braun Strowman picked Kane up over his shoulder and he threw him through the ring. He power slammed him through the ring. They both went through there. The crowd went nuts. I went nuts. And it was just brilliant. I mean, that's how the show went off air. And if you go on WWE's Twitter, you can see Braun emerging from this wreckage. This was awesome. But this was just a lot of fun because, like I always say, I just like seeing big dudes wail on each other. And I don't mean that literally, because that has a completely different context. WWE are building to this match very well though, and if when they do go head to head properly, they whoop each other like they did here, Kane versus Braun Strowman will actually be pretty damn decent. So yeah, that was Raw. And for a go-home show leading into Survivor Series, already ticked all the boxes. I'm more excited than I was. The card has got better each and every week. We have to see what's going to happen on SmackDown, but that's what I'm here for. You can tune in tomorrow to see if they carried on this momentum. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about all of this. Like, share, and subscribe. Head over to WhatCulture.com and read yourself some articles. Follow WhatCulture on Twitter or WhatCulture WWE. My name is Simon from WhatCulture, aka Mr. Ups and Downs. And remember, today is going to be your day. You're in charge. You're going to go out there and you're going to kick everybody's ass, not literally, figuratively. You're just going to do really well at whatever it is that you do. And I will see you tomorrow.
So, thanks for watching. Please feel free to click on any of these things around my head, or something terrible might happen to the dog. Too sweet me, bro. Traitor. Traitor.